everyone, my name is BlackWitchDirah. I am a Luciferian witch of the left-hand path and an occult educator. Welcome back to my channel. It has been a little while since I have done a kind of sit down and talk to you video, but yeah, I am back to my usual routine now and plan to get back to making these types of videos for you. So yeah, good to be back into the normal swing of things after I have been jetting about. So yeah, updates before we get into today's video. The workshop program is going very well. I am thoroughly enjoying putting that on for you guys. This past month, so November, we did blood magic, kind of an introduction to blood magic. So yeah, that was really fun. I think that was my favourite workshop I've done by far. We're still technically on that topic because the workshops are launched kind of like the last week or so of the month, like the beginning of the last week of the month. So up until the last week of December, that is still our workshop topic. So if you guys are interested in that, you'll also gain access to the past 2 months of workshops as well, in which we've done necromancy and we did, what was the other one? Spiritual warfare. So if that sounds good to you guys, go check it out. All the info is on my channel. I also launched merch on Halloween, demonaura.com. The link is in the description. So what's included on my merch site, well, it's not just merch, it's also ritual tools and supplies. So lots of really cool designs on there, created by my wonderful partner Adversary. Very talented artist. So yeah, go check that out. And obviously all my candles and whatnot are on there, and we're really planning on just expanding that, like both of those collections, so like the apparel and also the products that I make myself. So that's my newest sort of creation. Witch skills, that is still in the process. It's going to take a little bit longer than we thought, just because of like the really annoying admin parts of just setting up a new entity and everything that involves. So yeah, just bear with us on that one. You can still sign up to the mailing list to get updates. So as you can tell by the title, I'm doing another Melinda video after the video I did last week with my partner Adversary, but as you can see, I'm here by myself today, and I made a decision to Adversary did not approve of my decision to do this, but I spent 17 of my hard-earned pounds on one of Melinda's books because I wanted to make content out of it, and I thought it would be interesting. And the thing about Melinda, right, is like some of the comments on the last video about Melinda were kind of like, why are you going for her as such a low blow? Because, like, you know, she's not hard to kind of like criticize, basically. It's not necessarily that I have I mean, you know, I don't like her in the sense of like how she's kind of treated other people online. That's what I genuinely don't like about her. But it's not that I don't like her because of what she believes in. I don't like her because of how I've seen her basically bully people online who have dared to speak against anything that she says. That's what I dislike about her. I don't necessarily dislike her belief system and her gnosis. I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by it because it's kind of like, it's not based on anything. It's not based on anything real in terms of like actual systems, and you can just kind of tell that she's never read a fucking book. And I'm intrigued by the insanity. I'm absolutely intrigued by the psychosis. I don't know what it is, it just sucks me in and I just want to know more. So I thought reading this would be entertaining. It was somewhat, but it was also I've made a sacrifice to this channel officially by forcing myself to suffer through the act of reading this book. It was insufferable, but yeah, I've folded down some of the pages that I want to go through, because obviously I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to put you guys through that. So first of all, her books are self-published. you know, it's by MKL Books, so Melinda K. Lyons Books. So she's self-published, which, you know, nothing wrong with that. But it's just the way she puts at the top, world-renowned psychic medium, demonologist, and astral exorcist. It's just like, I don't like it when people describe themselves as world-renowned. I think that's for other people to describe you as, not yourself. Like, giving yourself that title, I'm a little bit like, okay. So I'm not going to, as I said, go through the whole thing, but I will summarise the kind of opening couple of chapters of this book, where she basically says, like, she puts loads of warnings in here, being like, you know, if you've accessed this material, demons don't want you to find out about this, so, you know, get ready for them to come after you. And I'm just like, oh, please. So, warning. As an advanced and thoroughly trained psychic medium demonologist that has travelled through dimensions, not only including the astral realm, I've been targeted by physical and psychic attacks by these malicious monsters, so the threat of this book is vital. As hard to believe as this may seem, my life has been at stake to write this book, but my passion for helping guide you back to the source is far greater of importance. The imagery, information, and know-how presented in this guide is something no other psychic or demonologist has demonstrated or acknowledged. Respectfully, as eloquently helpful the interpretations have been, this piece of knowledge you'll be proceeding towards is information these entities don't want you to know and has never been expressed, for it requires exceptional tolerance and experience. These findings are based on facts through psychic medium experiences and countless client testimonies. As you proceed, do so with caution. So first of all, it's like, these findings are based on facts through psychic medium experiences. Those two parts of that sentence directly contradict each other. You're saying these are facts from my subjective experience. When I talk about my subjective experiences, I never do it so as if I'm implying that they're fact, because I'm aware that my experience is subjective and that people will have different experiences to me. Like, your experiences are not fact, no matter how much you say they are. And it's like she always has to sort of like big up herself and be like, yeah, this requires exceptional tolerance and experience. And again, it's the stress of like the kind of fear mongering, just like, demons don't want you to know this. It's like those little fucking pop-up ads that you get on websites, and they're like, doctors don't want you to know about this anti-aging secret, and or like this group of people are furious, they don't want you to know this money-making secret, and it's all just a load of fucking shit. So I'm just gonna read the following page here. To know your opponent, one must understand its authenticity. It's like that old saying, keep your friends close but your enemies closer. This saying suggests that to remain one step ahead as much as humanly possible, one must remain aware of the capabilities of your enemy at all times. You are keeping a watchful eye on them, but through trained awareness, not obsession. Staying readily aware of this difference is cautiously advised. Genuine authenticity doesn't just appear based on words, but through actions and signs of intentions or agenda. The side of this earthly world is not as foreign to the metaphysical world, for these dark beings have been roaming the earth plane for thousands of years. However, it wasn't until recently, in the past few decades, were these forces being called out and quickly responded. Until recently, the past few decades? You think people have only been calling on demons for the past few decades? Is like, am I just reading that wrong, or is that what she's saying? However, it wasn't until recently, the past few decades, were these forces being called out and quickly responded. Do you know when the Lesser Key of Solomon, when that was written, or any of the other demonology grimoires, when those were written, and the time period in which they were based on? The Testament of Solomon. Like, do you know anything about the history of this shit? Because it's not being implied that you do. People have been calling on demons for a long fucking time. Anyway, the human mind can only comprehend and take so much information at a time. These entities are highly aware of this due to their advanced abilities and centuries of practice with close observation of the human race. They're really not that obsessed with us, I promise you. Like, they really don't care. Although they are aware of what we may be able to handle, they also know what we cannot, and this is where their approach comes into play. Demonical, that was a new word that I was quite thrown. Demonical, why not just say demonic? Demonical entities, I just don't think that's a word. I mean, if this wasn't self-published, the publisher might have pointed that out and gone, yeah, you should probably change that to demonic. Anyway. Demonical entities are not limited to how they will appear to us. Anyone who tries to tell you in books or other forms of teaching this is highly naive to the spirit's limitless potential and motivation. Demons, including familiar beings, will approach their target based on what frightens them the most. This is not true. It's just not true. None of the demons that I have worked with have appeared as a huge fucking spider. Which is what I'm most scared of. Like, I can't really think of much more that I'm scared of other than a massive tsunami coming to wipe me out, or a nuclear bomb. I think those are the three things that would freak me out the most. I've never had a demon appear in a scary form. I mean, it's scary as subjective. You know, I don't find, you know, the kind of traditional form of what demons are said to appear in, you know, that kind of devil form with the horns and shit. I don't find that scary, and I don't find the other ways in which they actually do appear to me scary either. So clearly that is not their motivation. So I don't know, I feel like that's not just from her though. I feel like that's just a common misconception overall, that demons will appear as what you fear the most, but it's just not anything which I've seen in my personal practice, or, you know, the numerous people that I know that, you know, do very similar stuff to me. Demons, including familiar beings, will approach the target. Yeah, I just read that bit, apologies. The spirit will intercept into your most profound and most precious of memories, along with worst nightmares, or fears, to give them a gateway towards incomprehensible intimidation and terror. Terror is not a word I use lightly. They are capable of pursuing enriched maneuvers to conquer your quest for self-love and personal exploration of the higher self. No, that's not something that has happened for me either. In fact, they are more helpful in those regards to, you know, things like self-love and, you know, accessing that higher self. And it's just, one thing I can sum up this entire text as is just so overly dualistic. You know, people talk about the higher self. The higher self, if we look at the magic of Abraham Mellon, the higher self can also be considered as one's holy guardian angel. Did you know we also have a holy, or maybe unholy, guardian demon as well? Like, there's a polarity to everything, and the polarity doesn't necessarily exist as one is good and one is bad. But that's literally the idea that this whole book is written on, like this overly dualistic thing. And yeah, to be honest, I just don't know how people kind of live like that, in all honesty, because it just sounds like the most fucking insufferable thing to live with. The next bit I want to go into is she kind of breaks down spirits into like categories of how dangerous they are, and she's like, yeah, she creates a scale. So this scale is not to be taken lightly, but should be wisely considered, for your very existence may be at stake. Okay, so she starts with talking about poltergeists. So she ranks poltergeists as a risk scale of 3 to 10. Then it's minions, creatures, and gremlins, which she describes as troublemakers. These are a risk of 3 to 7. Earthbound souls, risk factor 5 to 10. Demons, and then she talks about incubus and succubus demons. These are a risk factor level 8 to 10. And then at the top of the rank is devils, descended masters, and this is a risk factor scale of 10 with, in brackets, written soul danger. And then we have familiars at the end, which are 1 to 10. Now, the reason I'm wanting to just zoom in on this bit for a second is because she's created a rank, essentially. She's created a rank which has no basis in any other system whatsoever. It's not an official rank, she's just completely made it up herself. And this whole thing about soul danger and the way she puts a difference between demons and devils, like, it's literally made up. There's no other system that she has based this on. She's fucking completely made it up. And I just feel like soul danger is just such a laughable term used here. The risk factor measurement of a devil entity begins at the highest level of danger. For the human's victim, very soulful existence is at stake. Those spirits are not limited to the concept of time on earth. They don't like to waste their chances regardless of how many opportunities are presented. Diablo, the angel of darkness, Satan or devil, doesn't matter what you call these diabolical beings, but what they do is all the difference. Extracting a human's very existence by delivering menacing maneuvers is one of their masterful ways of succeeding in their goal. These dark forces are what I also consider to be descended masters from their apathetic nature energetically. They are considered the most negatively charged force one could ever come into contact. Thus it requires a team of exceptionally trained and experienced demonic professionals in the field, for not even religion or your faith can save you. No human soul is a match for the devil unless is highly advanced in their spiritual journey with ascended masters and spirit guides. See, this whole duality thing she's got going on here. It's just like, you must, this is where prayer of help from other ascended masters is a must, ascended beings rather. So she does this thing a lot about, you know, angels and demons against each other kind of thing, and doesn't understand that that's not really how it works. Like, demons and angels, as much as people like to think, they're not fucking fighting all the time. They're just different types of beings. They're from like different planes. So yeah, it's again just misinformation, just straight up misinformation. The next bit I'm going to go into is like how she says like how these spirits, these dangerous spirits can enter your life. So one of the things she listed, the ways in which these evil, destructive, malevolent beings can enter your life, is through witchcraft and Wicca. Are we really saying that people practicing Wicca are in danger now? Like, Wicca is, like, no offense to Wiccans, but it's pretty, what's the word? Light stuff, I guess. You know, you're not doing anything sinister in Wicca. Like, honestly, what do you think's going to happen to you because of Wicca? Come on. The practice and religion of witchcraft and Wicca is a solid connection to the universal energies and nature. It is to be carefully understood that the practice of witchcraft is not in the exact likeness of the belief of Wicca. Wicca is a religion and witchcraft is a practice. Not all witches are Wiccan, nor are all Wiccans witches. The focus of Wicca is the Lord and Lady, the Wheel of the Year, and one's spirituality. The emphasis of witchcraft is on the casting spells, brackets magic, and the use of herbs towards a specific end result. Arguably, a Wiccan can still be identified as a witch if the person participates in spellcasting, herbs, or conjuring spirits on the other side for one's bidding. The determination of one being Wiccan or witch is solely based on one's interpretation of what constitutes a religion. There is also a debate that one must start as a Wiccan, focusing on the spiritual connection of the deities and the energies, but then slowly gravitate towards the practice of spells and even curses. While Wicca is directly against baneful magic anyway. So, no. If this is the case of the Wiccan, then the Wiccan has indeed turned towards the craft of witchery. There is no need to identify nor connect witchcraft or Wicca to Satan worship. This myth and rumour spread like an angry disease from the Catholic and Christian faith centuries ago. Devil worship is not the same, and it wouldn't be fair to label them to this sort of shallow thinking. Thanks, Melinda. However, the dangers though, witchcraft and Wicca remain of vital urgency due to the individual's intention. Neither witchcraft or Wicca is evil, nor are they being suggested as so, but it is to be mentioned with dual sensitivity that both are just as able to become harmful if not used or practiced wisely. Through the person's intention, it creates the evil from the religion or the practice. What? Through the person's intention, it creates the evil from the religion or the practice. Okay. I met plenty of witches and Wiccans, and neither is to be labelled bad, for it's not the belief that creates an evil person, but the intention behind and through their actions. This would be no different than to say a police officer is always to be trusted, for this alone is not valid, for plenty of people in the police force go rogue and do things to abuse a power they were privileged to wield. Thanks to centuries of harmful Christian plans, it's indeed scarred the honest reputation of many in this sort of practice and belief unfairly. Those in this spiritual belief or practice do not automatically target demonic or familiar energies which must be digested. Instead, the individual's intention and what they do evolve the person towards a hostile entity. I received letters from individuals who believed Wicca but then began spells to take revenge on another person. Through this sort of act, one is designing karmic repercussion towards even themselves, for the revenge cannot go without a balance coming back around. Now, up until this point, she doesn't chat too much shit, but then here she starts talking about karma and karmic repercussions. I should probably sum up the karma thing in a whole other video, but you know, it sounds like when she said I've received letters from individuals who believed Wicca but then began to take spells to get revenge on another person, it's just like, well, that's not Wicca then, is it? Because Wiccas don't believe in cursing, they believe you shouldn't do that. The worst thing a Wicca does is probably like a heavy banishment. So, and it sounds like, you know, no offence, but like a lot of people in Wicca are, not all people in Wicca, but a lot of them are there because they are at the beginning of their witchcraft journey, and if you're at the beginning of your witchcraft journey, cursing is not the best idea, and that's probably why they kind of fuck themselves over, because they didn't do it correctly. Baneful magic isn't to be fucked around with. It's something that, you know, you really have to build it up as a practice and learn all of the fucking aspects of it. It's not just as simple as like throwing a curse at someone. There's so much more to it than that. So based on that, that would be my interpretation of what went on there. We exist in a universe that is the sum of energy and resonates with like energy. This includes actions and intentions. Once a person uses the craft to articulate their negatively charged intentions, those intentions then become a reality, causing harm to those they targeted. Although this may seem like a harmless act, the underlying fact is that these causes from spells don't just happen from the caster, but from other entities that also grant those wishes, desires, or curses. The witch or Wiccan that is partaking in these spells doesn't have to be consciously aware that dark forces are making the spells a reality, for they don't need the approval. They are all for the living caster to believe that it's working and know they can keep doing it. Once they are fully aware of the spell's magical outcomes, this entices the human caster to perform other forms of spells and or curses. This is what catches the demon's eye, for they want you to go against your morals. No, they don't. They don't give a fuck. Oh god, it's so annoying when people act like demons really give a shit about like absolutely everything. I'm just like, I promise you they don't. The negatively charged entities are naturally drawn to those more susceptible to dark behaviours like curses, greed, control or revenge. It's also a little bit like, I mean, this doesn't surprise me from her at all, but it's the way it's so much talking down to like Wiccans and witches, like they don't know what they're doing. Like, yeah, I know I said about like a lot of people in Wicca usually use it as like the first stepping stone into magic and witchcraft as a whole. But you know, of course there are experienced Wiccans and there's a lot of experienced witches, and you're acting like they just like no witches or Wiccans know what they're doing, and it's quite insulting. Like, do you not think they have put in so much fucking time to create a practice and create a path, a craft rather, and you know, actually know what they're doing and know how to work with what they want to work with and not accidentally summon things that, like, it's quite hard to summon Lucifer by accident. I'll tell you that now. He's not an easy guy to get hold of for everyone, especially not a fucking rookie. So this idea that, like, oh, you might accidentally summon a demon, it's not a fucking easy thing to do. It's not. So it's insulting to people that, like, actually know what they're doing. So, oh dear. So the next thing is the study of demonology that can apparently bring dark energies into your life. Merely studying the concepts of demons and familiar spirits enables the entrance of dark forces to enter one's life. Yet you've written this book. This is also a massive contradiction as well. She's just like, this book is so dangerous. Like, I'm talking about demons and demons are going to come and get you, when the kind of idea of this book is how to not have demons in your life. And from what I've read, there's absolutely no preventative stuff in here. Like, there's no... She doesn't tell you how to get rid of anything. She just tells you about it, or what she thinks is correct. Anyway, there is nothing more sacrificial than the choice of an exorcist or demonologist to do everything in their power to learn of these malicious entities, to relieve those of their mangling grips. This study should not be taken lightly, for the conscious moment to initialize the study enrages the demonic forces. Their motivation is to stop and even annihilate their foes purposely. Anyone that studied demonology in the comments, has a demon ever tried to annihilate you? Let me know. Personally, no. Although, do you know what? I think the worst thing that's ever happened to me from studying demonology, when I was first starting out, I was reading a book and there was a bit about Beelzebub, and a fat fucking wasp landed on my book. That was a little bit successful. I was just like, oh fuck. That was Beelzebub trying to annihilate me. Demons and familiars become psychically aware of the person's intentions of studying their cosmology and abilities without struggle. This awareness of us alone allows every demonic entity and familiar to remain thoroughly entranced with the human they are feeling may become a threat to their very agenda. I promise you, humans are not a threat to a demon's agenda. I promise you we're not. When driven to do the unthinkable, which is to face one's ultimate enemy created through fear, the very mention of demonology is not a life a person ultimately wants. However, the shared spiritual religious belief is that humans do not choose this profession course, but God chose it. Yeah, God chose this for me too. This is only partially true. We are all made in God's image, the universe's image in brackets, which ultimately defines that the human souls are finally in charge of what they choose to pursue. The God who decided to fulfill this purpose was the demonologist and exorcist themselves. What? The God who decided to fulfill this purpose was the demonologist and exorcist themselves. The fuck does that even mean? This is not out of the person's hands like many belief systems portray. It's an individual's choice. To thoroughly understand this concept, one must be willing to get themselves out of the box labelled dogma. No human soul is forced to pursue a purpose they don't want to journey through. Instead, it's to be understood that each soul is driven to help humanity in this way, is from their soul deciding to before incarnating and reincarnating on the earth realm. The individual's divine purpose of this life is to help guide and potentially protect those that become victims and prevent these attacks from happening, hopefully. However, the demonologist and exorcist are not untouchable, for their very life is in danger regularly while working to avoid these beings from raiding your home and very existence. Is it me, or is there a little bit of like a victim mentality coming out of this from her, you know, about like being an exorcist? Like, oh, I get attacked all the time. Like, don't fucking do it then. Oh no, but God gave it to you. It's God's purpose. Okay. So the next thing is demon tarot and Ouija boards. Not tarot as a whole, just the demon ones. Don't touch the demon ones. The rest of them are fine, just not the demon ones. The use of a demon tarot deck or demon Ouija board, I didn't even know a demon Ouija board was a thing, without question, hazardous. Those who intently use these types of occult devices to connect with the demonic energies purposely are not only in the comings of a rude awakening, okay, more often than not, some with these empty vessels arrange for the summoning of a demonic entity to harm another person, gain power, control, or even receive obscene sexual stimulation. What is this thing about, like, if you're working with demons, you must be doing it for something fucking depraved? Like, you do know, like, sometimes people just do it for gnosis, or just to, you know, kind of figure some shit out, do a bit of divination. You know, it doesn't have to be like, oh, they're trying to hurt someone, or they want to get off on it. Like, fuck's sake, this irrationality begins to consist of acute demonic and familiar attacks not so long after the initial conjuring. Lacking the moral high ground, some individuals may choose to interact with the demon by agreeing to become enslaved in the afterlife if the demon were to do the conjurer's bidding. Some may extend this madness to selling their very soul for the fantasies to become reality. In short, nothing good stems from the use of these devices. I don't know, the occult tarot deck, that's my favourite deck ever, and I use it religiously. It's a very good deck. The use of a tarot deck is not to be measured or assumed as only used for evil. There are angelic decks used by, yeah, the angelic ones are fine. Psychic mediums and so forth. Tarot itself is neither good nor evil, for it is determined based on the one that is using the deck. The person's intention may initiate a positive or negative experience, for tarot is not solely to communicate with otherworldly spirits, but for the guidance from the person's intuition of which card is next in line for one's cosmic answers to their questions. Again, it's the fucking dualism. Like, do you not understand that, like, there are spirits in existence that both have demonic and angelic forms? Samael, for example, you know. Dear. Right, this is probably my favourite bit. It's the bit that wound me up the most. I'm not for, like, I'll read you the title, you can probably assume what, like, you'll make an assumption as to why it wound me up, but it wasn't for that reason. So, Satanism and other occults. Obviously I'm going to be like, no, because she's obviously talking about what, similar stuff to what I do. But anyway, unfortunately the practice of Satanism, voodoo and others often end up down the blackened path. Okay, see, I'm already pissed off. Why? Because she's put Satanism and voodoo next to each other when they are not related in the slight. You can't put those into one category, Melinda. You can't. They're nowhere near the same fucking thing. These belief systems and their ritualistic practices require some sacrificial ends to see their desired results from their courses. Voodoo is a black religious cult practiced in the Caribbean and southern US, combining elements of Roman Catholic ritual with traditional African magical and religious rites, and characterized by sorcery and spirit possession. Whereas Satanism has several types of levels and beliefs. LaVeyan Satanism, for example, is a new religious movement founded in 1966 by the American occultist and author Anton Szandor LaVey. The religion's doctrines and practices are codified in LaVey's book, The Satanic Bible. Its core philosophy is based on individualism and egoism, encouraging a pursuit of fleshly indulgence and an eye for an eye code of ethics. Then there is theistic Satanism, which believes that Satan is a supernatural being or force that individuals may contact and supplicate to, and represents loosely affiliated or independent groups and cabals that hold such a belief. Another characteristic of theistic Satanism commonly includes the use of ceremonial magic. No Satanist is to be identified as the same, for there are different beliefs of Satanism respectfully. Though I am grounded in the respect that each soul is meant to follow their path without judgment, those following in this type of belief are set to make an encounter with dark forces incredibly. However, not through the simplicity of the view does this cause the entity's curiosity of the human target, but through the individual's deepest desires and core ideologies. Each person holds up their levels of beliefs regardless of the identity they've branded themselves with, through the choice of their religion. Demonic energies are drawn to those that are drawn to egoism. Thus, the likelihood of becoming intensely and closely examined from the diabolical, though not all followers in these religions will be drawn to this particular path, some may become entranced with the insatiable craving for power, money, sex, control, or other means, or by performing unfathomable ceremonies that may require animals or even human sacrifice. Okay, I'm just going to stop there for a minute. So she mentions voodoo in the beginning as like, you know, it describes what it is, doesn't describe how it's related to Satanism whatsoever. Then she starts rambling on about Satanism. Voodoo is, as she said, an African traditional religion that has nothing to do with the demonic. They have their own set of spirits, the Loa, who are not demonic. Spirit possession is involved, but it's not what you think it is in terms of like demonic possession. They're in ceremony and ritual. Spirit will possess someone to give messages, but you know, yeah, you don't like it, so you're gonna go and put it under this like Satanism bracket of, you know, things that you don't like and think are bad, when that tradition has been going on for centuries before you even fucking existed, yet you've got something to say about it. The way it's like a completely different fucking culture that you know nothing about, and you put it in your fucking book being like, oh yeah, demons. It's disrespectful. It's just, it's, you know, I'm not really into that whole thing about, you know, I made a whole video about, you know, policing language in the occult, about, you know, I was responding to a video that this lady on TikTok made about, you know, she was very into her voodoo, and she was saying how higher magic and lower magic are like racist terms. I'm like, not into that shit. I don't like that shit. In terms of, I don't like the policing of language, right? So there are issues that come up when, you know, people start talking about voodoo and religions from other cultures, because, you know, there's the whole cultural appropriation thing. I don't get involved in that stuff because I don't practice voodoo. It's, you know, not it's not my problem. But, you know, she's just like, what the fuck has voodoo done to you, Melinda? Why have you fucking put it in here like it's a fucking problem? Leave them alone. Why have you put it in here? Come for the Satanists, fine. You know, I kind of get it. Like, I can kind of make that make sense in my head. But why are you going for the voodoos who are just minding their own fucking business, keeping their practice closed from people because it's not meant for everyone, and you're trying to, like, you know, point your fucking finger and being like, ugh, like, you know, you're bringing evil into your life and into the world. Fuck off and mind your own fucking business. This is, I told you that bit got me a bit mad. Anyway, on to the next page. Oh yeah, so now she goes on to documented news reports from those committed heinous crimes in the name of Satan or for another dark purpose. Oh yeah, you know, satanic panic, obviously gonna put that in there. Those who crave power may become capable of the most menacing actions imaginable when clouded by the cloak of vanity and greed. Some have gone to the lengths of kidnapping and even sacrificing their newborn babies. Source, please. For the person committing these crimes themselves cannot resist the urge to create change through the actions of these rituals. It's as if their whole person has vanished and was replaced with an apathetic creature that is not accustomed to humanity's morals and innate mercy. Of course, it's unwise to suggest that all who follow Satanism's belief are prone to even agree on these sorts of dark rituals and shouldn't be automatically judged as so. Yet you do that. You do that though, don't you? Nevertheless, as rare as they come, these cases are painstaking cringe to the religions and shouldn't be labelled in a general sense. Some under the impression these practices are against God. Christianity is a solid believer in this interpretation, however, it's neither good nor evil of the choice of religion one wishes to follow. Still, innate desires, rooted beliefs and energetic core DNA make something good or evil. Just like nature, the wind is neither good nor bad, but it's based on the impact the wind makes at the moment that creates this sort of impression. The right question, or better to say confession, is whether one likes to admit it outright or not. There indeed seems to be a dark force at work when an individual dives deep into the rabbit hole of power and ego. No, that's their own fucking problem. You don't think people are capable of falling into ego and all that by themselves? That's literally happening with most people around us. And it's not Satan. It's not some dark force. It's just human nature. Everyone's got a fucking ego. So I feel like she kind of tiptoes around the Satanism thing a little bit. I don't really know why she does that. Because she's sort of like, oh yeah, you know, the crimes and, you know, people are killing their own babies and stuff like that. No sources, no reference of when, no case example, nothing. Like, yeah, but I have not first-hand experience, but like, let's just say first-hand knowledge of this kind of thing happening, right? When I lived in London, I made a video about this with the Order of Chaos like 3 years ago. We talked about what happened and, you know, that kid murdered 2 women in the park because he was inspired by E.A. Coetting's writings to do that, so he claimed. And yeah, he ended up murdering 2 women who were just in the park minding their own business, having a little picnic. And he made a pact with a demon for he wanted to win the Euro Millions. And yeah, obviously he got locked up. That is such an anomaly. Like, I'm in no way diminishing what happened there. Like, that's fucked up. But the kid was obviously mentally fucking ill. Because no one in their right mind would do that. There are people that have been practicing demonology for years that wouldn't fucking dream of doing that. It's not about these dark forces getting hold of you. It's about your mental fucking state. Anyway, that is all I'm going to put you through with this book today. Didn't go into an awful lot of it, but yeah, it's not going on my recommended list. Sorry, Melinda. It's just not for me. It's not for me. And I'm going to put this in Attius's Christmas stocking as a little joke. I'm gonna wrap it up. Merry Christmas, babe. Anyway, I hope this video was enjoyable. And yeah, if you don't like these Melinda, I know some of you didn't like the last one. They're like, oh, you've gone too far, or like, why are you even doing this? You know, low-hanging fruit and all that. Look, because I wanted to, alright? You don't have to fucking watch it. So, yeah. But this is the last one I'm probably going to do unless something comes up. You know, I'm not really interested in going into her more than I already have. So if you don't like the Melinda videos, don't worry about it. It's the last one for now. So, next week I am going to have another video ready for you, Saturday, 8 PM UK time. Another interesting topic that I want to cover. It is going to be a reaction thing, but I'm not reacting to necessarily a person. But it's going to be another reaction video and it's not Melinda. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Oh my god, by the way, thank you so fucking much for 3,000 subscribers. That is really, really cool. And it just astounds. I know it's not crazy YouTube numbers, but I just can't believe 3,000 people actually, you know, want to hear from me. So thank you so much. It means a lot to me. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, give the video a like, and I will see you next Saturday. Goodbye for now.